Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow, call me offensive even though yo, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love, still gonna die for what I love, still gonna try, I won't give up, still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no. Some injuries, mentally and physically, studied them religiously so I don't repeat history. And people won't admit to me, they don't want a victory bad enough to get a C, they'd rather just go leave it be. And oh, this journey I've been on since 13, working hard and learning, never stopping searching. Yeah, it's burning, all this passion hurts me. I took action working, writing down these words. No, I'm not okay, I just wanna be something. I don't wanna be nothing, living all alone. No, I'm not alright, I'm just barely getting by, but I'll tell you I'm just fine, so you leave me alone. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no.
What's up, homely? I'm going to be online in just a minute. I'm getting myself a cup of coffee. I'm just getting everything set up now and doing all the social media sharing. You know how that goes. Audio levels okay? Excellent, excellent. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick. All the boys stare.
I, of course, got Netflix running in the background, as always. He makes some of the damn best royalty-free music you can get, at least in my humble opinion. Alright, let's see what we got. I got my coffee. Let's make this happen. We should have a desk. We have a desk!
you're hated by your girlfriends, 'cause all the guys want you tonight. Yeah, they say she's too hot, they say she's too cold. Where she came from, nobody really knows. They say she looks young, but say she acts old. From everything I've heard, she gets out of control. And all the boys say she was sent from the heavens, but I'm not too sure that this girl is a blessing. She's got the devil's eyes and they'll cut you like a weapon. She's stuck in my mind like a bad obsession. Got bad intentions. She got a body like a coke thing. She likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely. I want that body, baby, show me. She's got a body like a coke thing.
Alright, now that the video's not completely mirrored, we can start working on this strife here. And let me get the appropriate amount of light down here so you can actually see what I'm working on. There we go, we got light. A little overexposed, but I can work on that. Oh, thank you, thank you. I managed to touch this one up last night, so we're going to be giving her an alcohol bath right now to get her ready for clear coat. I was going to hydro dip this one because I'm trying to do it as a show-off piece, but there's just really no hydro dip films that fit my style nerfing. Okay, so now I'm not shot out on the video. You can see details. Yay, it's all working. Okay, so let's get to this. So I'm literally just taking, I buy bags of rags because I work on cars too. I'm taking my 91 and just like drenching the hell out of that rag. Like to the point it comes through the other side. And then you don't want to put too much pressure on it when you're alcohol washing it. But I'm just basically taking the doubled over rag and dragging it across it. This will get the main part of it. And then we'll go back and do the detail work here in a couple minutes. Okay, so bulk of it's done. I'm going to take that rag, fold it the wrong direction. Remember we had some come through. Let's go ahead and touch up this handle and the buttstock. Mag release. Actually, as long as you can get a good, clear, single color coat, that's all you need for dipping, because the dip does the rest. I mean, if you want to do a 2-color, then dip, a little harder, but that's not too hard. Dipping covers up a lot of painting mistakes, and I do mean a lot of painting mistakes get covered up by dipping. Alright, so big boy Strife sitting over there drying. If it ever stops raining today, I'll get some clear coat on her. Well, let's work on this. Okay, so these are pretty fresh printed parts that go to a blaster, obviously. Let me get the blaster it goes to. So we're going to start working on this hammer shot. Okay, so 400, 600 grit standing sponge. I'm going to take the 400 grit side. We're just going to clean up these parts just a little bit. Nice. Hawkeye makes good stuff. From the bit I've seen out of his work, he is definitely a perfectionist. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so we got those parts cleaned up. Let's start taking this apart. Now, I have stickers on the bottom here. While we got the wet rag with the alcohol, let's go ahead and get those off.
Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
It's really amazing what some of the people out there can do. Like, I actually have parts coming in from Coat Duck, Alice Coat Duck. Even though I'm a 3D printer, I ordered parts from her because I've heard such good things about her prints. I want to try using them on the build. So it's amazing the love that some of these people can put into the parts and how tough on themselves they are about it. Makes me glad I'm not a vendor.
Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. Yeah, I got a shot at
Okay, so here's a cool trick you can do with 91% alcohol. So you've seen all I put on here is 91% alcohol, and this still has that Zombie Strike logo. Watch this one not do it. Sometimes you literally can just buff off the logo. This one's not doing it with alcohol. That's bringing up that shine nicely, though. All right, let's get her taken apart.
Yeah, let's go. I'ma make a couple stacks, do exactly what I want to. Mix a couple tracks, get a lady that I'm drawn to. Turn up to the max, get it faded till I'm gone, dude. I do what I want, couldn't stop me if you want. wanted to. I just work hard, yeah, harder than the rest. Some people say I'm lucky, others saying that I'm blessed. But I keep my head down, cause I crave progress. You ain't never gonna stop me, cause it's my conquest. And I'm never gonna rest, yeah. And y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone.
Any industry, there's a lot of negative stuff that can be said about vendors. You got... Even with other YouTubers on here, there's a lot that can be said negative about them. Unfortunately, you kind of gotta find out for yourself. And I would never base buying decisions upon one person's opinion. Like, there's some trusted friends that told me, yeah, order from Coat Duck. On this last order, there was some trusted friends that told me no. Like, a good example is, it's no small secret I like foam blast motors. I know people that hate foam blast motors. You gotta read between the lines and see what's what, you know? Because unfortunately in Nerf there's a lot of little clicks, and that skews a lot of people's decisions. But truth be told, it's like that in any hobby. I got one screw stuck here. Alright, so there's one side of the shell. Let's go ahead and work on getting the guts out of here. There's the cylinder and the pusher. There's a little end strike nub. Come on, baby. Why does this piece never ever want to come out for me? Oh well, I don't need that one out for what I'm doing today. Let's get the trigger cover off. If you stick around, you'll probably actually get to see me solder here in a bit. I got a couple flywheels I'm working on today. Now, internal screws, here's a tip for your little bowl. So external screws I put up there. If I'm just dealing with a couple internal screws, I like to put them on the bottom to keep the internal screws separated from the external screws. On this blaster, it really doesn't matter, but it's just habit at this point. Come on, baby, come out. Let's go ahead and get the tension off the spring. There's my hammer shot spring. Ah, I'm missing one. I'm not awake yet. Yeah, that works. It's an awesome technique. I just don't have that many 3x5 cards. Okay, I'm going to save myself headache because this part always annoys me. This little damn spring. So what we got here is an enlarged hammer. It's longer, and all the 3D parts for the inside of it. So we gotta get this thing apart. This is always the least fun part of taking apart a hammer shot trigger, is getting this part off.
Let's go. I'm unstoppable. Do the impossible. I'm irresponsible. Yet I'm phenomenal. I got an arsenal. I'm dropping bombs, you know. No, I'm not stopping, no. Conquer the obstacle. To the top, here I go, think I'm chosen to be the king of rock, think the people have spoken.
Come on, baby. Okay. So, that is this hole.
Ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. Yeah. I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
Get in the hole.
That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
Get in the air hole. Okay, so we got our plunger rod on the trigger group now.
I'm addicted to the grind, man. So I refuse to waste time, man. One day it all will be fine, man. Gotta commit to the climb. You know we're back with the get it set and
It's going to go like that.
every track in addiction to the fact that we're winning, still we lack something's missing. Need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions. Yeah. That's a mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make.
Come on, baby.
Sitting there complaining, I'll be training while you sit.
Just gotta talk nice to your mods sometimes. Talk nice to a blaster and it'll work for you. The little spring rod on this one is the pain to get it out. I'm always afraid I'm going to break them. We're going to let that stretch for just a second while I get a sip of coffee here. I mean, you can drive the pin out, but it doesn't always like coming out. So I'm going to see if I can tap that through a little. Let's get her back on. There we go. There we go. So our old trigger goes by the wayside. And it goes right there. Okay. So we'll put the plunger back in there. We'll get this set on there. So now, hammer shot spring has two sides to it, a skinny side and a fat side. We're going to put on a spring spacer, which always makes this a pain to put on. Okay. The bad thing is I still want my air restrictor in here. So it's not the easiest to mess with right now. Okay, spring spacer on. Springs in. Okay. That little PITA torsion screw. The part of the trigger that hooks onto it. Here we go with the torsion screw.
Rolling up to the frat house and we about to rock it. Get them ladies on the dance floor about to drop it. Once the music starts, we ain't never gonna stop it. Listen real close, man, all you hear is gossip. All you hear is gossip.
There we go. We're just getting it back together.
She likes to try stuff, telling lies to pass the time. We're never gonna shut up. And he's still a virgin, even though she wants a threesome with 2 hot chicks. Kelly says she's down, if he wants it, then he got it. This is all the shit I hear, man, call it gossip. Man, I hear the gossip. Okay, yeah. All you hear is gossip. Jason always has another guy in the rotation. All this temptation, bed's never vacant. Now I hear the Mormons are in an engagement. This shit is crazy, heard about Daisy. Lost 50 pounds, now she's looking amazing. Oh baby, double D's Amy. Flashing all the boys, now she got them all chasing. You got Jessica, she looking real buzzed. Hooking up in the back of her boy's truck. You got Erica, she looking real drunk. Straight A student, now she looking starstruck. This the last verse, but you know we'll never stop it. Love it too much, man, always wanna talk shit. Ladies all around, keep it going, they will not quit. This is all the shit I hear, man, call it gossip.
Okay, there we go. 1.
The wind is blowing through her hair. We like to head out on the road. And you know we don't really care. Cause we're just doing
Take just a little bit of tension off of that.
She likes it when I treat her good. She likes it when I treat her bad. She likes to travel all around. I take her everywhere and back. Yeah, oh, you fucking with the man, girl. You throw it right back. No, I like that. I'ma bite back. You know I've become a fan, girl. The way you throw back like a Kodak.
There's 2.
Cruise around without a plan, girl. We'll never go back, girl. You know that you were so bad. Let's just spend a couple grand, girl. You know you're fucking with the man, girl.
There's 3. Let's make them all tight now. Test it out. Does it compress? Compresses, it catches. She works. Cylinder peg's gotta go back in. We accidentally knocked it out.
Cruising PCH with the top down, drop down, headed nowhere fast, never stop now, not now. We ain't slowing down, never knowing now. We just headed south, what it's all about, never out of doubt. Yeah, she be sitting shotgun, she a hot one in the hot sun, crop top on, I'ma hop on every single day, head a different way, never stay in place, don't care what they say, we gon' do it anyway. Always by my side, oh we're living life right, every night we just drive by, cruising high life, we're alive, not just getting by, not just letting life pass right underneath the side, grab it real tight. Okay, every day is a new day in a new place, rent a new space, see a new face in a few days, move a new way to a new state, that's great, rent an estate for our next day. Oh, you could have been a good girl, but instead you chose a real world. Yeah, you've always been a savage. Oh, you've always been a bad chick. I don't care if you got issues. Daddy left, but I'm with you. So come with me, never look back. We're living life like a badass. Oh, you could have been a good girl, but instead you chose a real world. Yeah, you've always been a savage. Oh, you've always been a bad chick. I don't care if you got issues. Daddy left, but I'm with you. So come with me, never.
Alright, looks like it's coming back together. Got all these screws back in.
Yeah, let's go. Punk rock and Cobain is how we grew up. K-rock was insane, I was such a screw up. The 90s held such better times. Weezer, Blink, Rage Against, and of course Sublime. Had a crush in school, oh man she was so fine. I had a couple dudes, we kick it every night. We drink a couple brews and get into a fight. If I could go back to that, man, I'd be alright. Yeah, take it all back for you. I've been beating up black and blue. Yeah, know what I have to do. Never roll back, that's the truth. Yeah, take it all back for you. I've been beating up black and blue. Yeah, know what I have to do. Never roll back, that's the truth.
Okay, when closing up a blaster, I like to put all the screws in and then hit all the corners of the blaster. So if you can picture a box around the blaster, this is the bottom corner, and this would be the other bottom corner. Then this would be the top corner. If you do it this way, it just helps from your shell not getting tweaked. Oh, for the next SENC award, there's going to be a lot of people there. I can't wait. Well, I had some cool stuff for the SENC raffle there too. I'm actually putting a couple. I got permission from so many people to do special parts for a raffle. So if you're going to be there, definitely check that out. Once I get this all screwed down, I'll go show you some of the parts I 3D printed off for the SENC raffle. Yep, just like lugs on the tire. I only do corners and then I kind of go in order. Okay, testing functionality, primes. It's a little tight through here. There we go. All right, and let's test fire across the room to see what kind of performance we're getting. Nice. Let me go get that. I'll show you the SCNC swag pack. There's only 2 of them. I only made 2 of them, and then I actually like deleted the files, deleted like the thing I used to make the files. There's only 2, black one and a white one. We'll grab the white one. So this is the SCNC swag pack. All kinds of cool little goodies in here. So you have a foam blast mag carrier, Molly edition, with the clips. Got an angle foregrip. This is for strife, obviously. V3 trigger, foam blast wire channel with meter holder, foam blast mag release, foam blast Bobo style rev trigger. And here's the parts everybody's going nuts over. I talked to Adrian Kelly to get a permission to use this. This is the Adrian Kelly Kelly Enterprises smooth door, and it's got the SCNC logo on it, raised. And then the motor cover also has the SCNC logo on it. I had to ask so many different people for so much permission to be able to print this. It's worth it though. Raffle tickets are only $1, so I hope it helps the club sell a lot of tickets. I'm not getting anything off of it. It's all going to the club. So I mean, I guess in a way I am, because I play at the club and it's going to help pay for barriers and darts and stuff like that. Alright, so we got the hammer shot done. I'm going to check on the big boy stripe. She dried nicely. Checking my paint job. Before you seal it, don't be afraid to run your fingers over it. This 600 grit sandpaper that I'll use to spot touch paint errors. Anytime sandpaper touches it, it needs another alcohol bath though, so keep that in mind. Feels good. That feels good. Okay, so it feels right now. Smooth. But I touched it with sandpaper, so it needs another alcohol bath. This is going to help make sure that clear coat I put on it adheres well, has no errors. I'm going to dull coat it. Uh-oh. Okay, sometimes this will happen. So it's picking up paint there since I just sanded and pulling black onto my white. If that happens, really, really nice and easy, directly put some alcohol on it. A little more forceful there. And she comes right off. Just like that. There we go. She's back to drying. Alright, so we finished one blaster. I'm going to take a 5-minute break and check what it's like outside to see if I'm even going to be able to clear coat today. I'll be right back.
I'm on so many levels like a beachy game type. I can make dead mouse spell his name right. Turn up my speakers like the Afrojack. You where are you now? And I need you, Jack. You, I'm all alone like a marshmallow. Haters try to block me like a remix. Hello, don't let me down like chain smoke. Cause let's take a selfie, baby. Get in closer. I'm a vet in this game. Call me Tiesto. And just like Zed, working with the vessels. I'm just playing. Let's be respectful. Under control like my man Alesso. I can make your girl sing Bird Machine. Yeah, DJ Snake knows what I mean. And lastly, you know I'ma steal the show like Kygo's first team Firestone.
Yeah, so what? Getting lit like we will Sparks. And we coming up like the modern day Mozart. Yeah, we getting lucky with the ladies like we're Daft Punk. This is how we party, rehab, it's a slam dunk. And we hear you G-Eazy, man, this shit ain't fucking random. Oops, not a DJ, but that motherfucker's handsome. About to be Darude and turn this beat into a sandstorm. About to switch it up and make this motherfucker transform.
Nah, fuck that.
I don't get what I want, I get what I need. Every single day I'm heading off to my dream, and I get everything that I damn well please. I don't give a damn if you all listening to me, cause I run it. I'm the only one that really want it, I'm the only one that's really on it. I'm just being honest, I'm just doing everything I promise, cause I want it bad enough that I'ma make it as an artist. And I know I'm not the smartest, and I know I'm not the largest, but I promise you that I'ma be the one that worked the hardest, cause I promise you that I'm just getting started. And I promise you that my skills are getting sharper, so I'ma get charted. Can't be guarded, nah, I'm the one to get retarded. Get the party started, yeah, get the party started, yeah, so let me get up on it, yeah. Bitch, you got me fucked up, I don't know what's up. Pour that shit in my cup, we bout to turn up. Crank this shit up so loud, sounds like we're sold out. In front of a whole crowd, we lose control now. Y'all take this shit too personally, everybody got a different version of me. Everybody gotta be learning from me, everybody wanna be working with me. And I feel like there's uncertainty and urgency to find out what you wanna be. But honestly, we change our minds constantly, so stop and breathe to find out who you wanna be. So I'd be cautious, I hope that you're watching. Don't try to stop this, work until I'm nauseous. Cause I will not quit, no, because I want this. Don't try to stop me, failure ain't an option. So I'd be cautious, I hope that you're watching. Don't try to stop this, work until I'm nauseous. Cause I will not quit, no, because I want this. Don't try to stop me now. Did you learn anything? Really worth anything? 200 grand later and we're not even working. Student loans worth more than what we're earning. Best lesson I learned is to keep on searching. Find your true passion and get to work. And better take action or you end up serving. Yeah, that's a fact. So you better clean up your act. So you better grow yourself a sack and tell the world they can suck on that. Don't come back, pack your bags. You take a trip and don't relax. You hit the switch and just attack. You find your niche and make some racks. Don't hold back. Everybody wake up. It's time to break up with the life you made up. It's time to trade up, live the life you want now, a life you don't doubt. I could give a fuck how. Just be
All right.
wake up, man, this life
Had a nice little break there. Let's get back to it.
so which one you prefer?
Flywheel blaster time.
Entrepreneur, don't give up on your dream if it's what you deserve. Failure ain't an option, so I'd be cautious. I hope that you're watching. Don't try to stop this, work until I'm nauseous. Cause I will not quit, no, because I want this. Don't try to stop me.
There, I can be a real YouTuber now. My headset's been in the shot. All right. Yeah, it'll be good to have you out there, man. That'll be awesome. Even if you can only show up every once in a while, that's fine. Let's get her taken apart. So we got a Rebel Rapid Red here.
Yeah, let's go. I'm unstoppable, do the impossible. I'm irresponsible, yet I'm phenomenal. I got an arsenal, I'm dropping bombs, you know. No, I'm not stopping, no. Conquer the obstacle. To the top, here I go, think I'm chosen to be the king of rock, think the people have spoken. I can hear the tick-tock of the clock, I'm in motion. So now I'm gonna pop, causing all this commotion.
Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
Yeah, let's go. I don't care what they all say. That's right, I'ma do this thing my way. Let's go. Been grinding hard on it all day. Okay, we work hard, then we all play. Yeah, I'm addicted to the grind, man. That's right, so I refuse to waste time, man. Yeah, one day it all will be fine, man. Let's go. Gotta commit to the climb. You know we're back with the Guinness, setting records every minute, every track. In addiction to the fact that we're winning, still we lack something's missing. Need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions. Yeah, that's the mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating.
Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit... Oh, nice. I wish I had grabbed them when they're 5. I buy up Rapid Reds around about $10. If I can get in my hand for $10, I'll generally buy a Rapid Red. This is going to be a bit of a longer project, so we're going to go ahead and take screws and start a baggie for them. Rapid Reds are a dream to paint too. That's why I like them. Plus, when you start them, you're not stuck with, am I going to keep it as a pistol? Am I going to turn it into a rifle? You know, a Rapid Red's going to stay as a sidearm.
The cold brews, so many babes too, man, you gotta boo-blues. East Carolina, the best vagina. You'll make your mind up, cause they're so fine, bruh. Ohio's good times, you'll end up with dimes. So wide and so prime, it should be a damn crime. Oh, UCSB is worth the STD. Party so recklessly, they get the best of me. Down south to Chapman, that's where it's happening. You better strap in, cause these ladies fat tens. Yeah, it's the best 4 years of your life. That's right, you gotta live it up to live it right. Yeah, I'm fucking snacked, party till I'm blacked. Fucking undergrad, I ain't never gonna pass. I ain't never going back. No, I ain't never going back. Yeah, I'm fucking snacked, party till I'm blacked. Fucking undergrad, I ain't never gonna pass. I ain't never going back. No, I ain't never going back. Oh yeah, I'm fucking snacked, party all day, go there to get laid, especially on holidays. Over to Penn State, they've always been great. On campus shit-faced, Greek like his top grade. Cake stands and butt chugs, pasties I'm in love. Hazing and new drugs, spraying a shotgun, and chasing freshmen. You gotta send it, these girls 11s, I think I'm in heaven. FSU, MSU, ASU, that's the crew, that's just the all-star team. Top 10 in everything, they're full of savages, a bunch of rabid kids. The cakes they're tapping in, that's just the half of it. Daddy's little angels, out there repping anal, dancing up on tables, chugging on black label.
As you see, legit, the first step to modding a blaster is take the whole damn thing apart.
It's the best 4 years of your life. That's right. You gotta live it up to live it right. Yeah, I'm fucking snacked. Party till I'm blacked. Fucking undergrad. I ain't never gonna pass. I ain't never going back. No, I ain't never going back. Yeah, I'm fucking snacked.
This is the pain part on a rapid res, getting the barrel out of the guard, the front sight, whatever you want to call it. Nope. Still need to work on that part. Okay. Now I definitely suggest getting smaller wire cutters than what I use. I like to save my stock switches. They're good for enabling LEDs, stuff like that. Not that I do a whole lot of LED work on my blasters. I'm not a fan of the clear stuff. I got much respect for people like Hawkeye that are all about that. It's just not my way. We're just going through, we're freeing everything up here. Okay, all this trash wire goes right where it belongs in the trash can. Okay, we do need parts from all of this stuff. So let's go ahead and start working on it. First thing I'm going to do is pop out this screw. To get the screw out of the battery door, you put your finger on it to put pressure on it, because it's not a fully threaded screw. As long as there's pressure on it, you can start backing her out though. And there she comes. So you can see on the screw, the top part of it's smooth and the bottom part's what has thread. That's why you have to push on it to screw it out. Alright, to get the internals out on it, this is a brute force job. There's a little hole right here. Take a very, very small screwdriver, start wedging it under there. The trash wire is definitely worth throwing out. The The micro switches that they use, like I said, they're good for LED work. This is a utility knife, so I'm being bad with it. Normally you would never cut towards yourself, but this is basically a really big box cutter. So do as I say, not as I do. Don't cut towards yourself unless you want to get cut. Years of working in the kitchen and using a paring knife has taught me a lot of bad habits. You just slowly work around, prying that part off. Those come out. Those are trash. Okay, so we're done with that for now until we get the Dremel out. I do need this. Okay, on this, we need this part because that's what your battery door screws into. So I'm going to take my wire cutters, cut straight down there. Straight down there. There's a notch inside. Now I should be able to pry it up some. And again, don't cut towards yourself. This is a utility knife. And of course, since I'm doing it live, she doesn't want to cooperate that well. So we'll just cut a wedge out of each side of this, which will give us room. Just a relief cut. I mean, that battery holder's trash pretty much anyhow, because we're going to be switching this over to LiPo. There we go. So now I can get to the part I need. We'll go ahead and clean this up. Just like that. So we need that part. This is all trash. Strap relief cover. This screw, if you're not using the stock flywheel cage, is handy to hold on to. It's the same size as many trigger retaining screws. I don't know why I keep motor straps. I don't know why I keep the spacers either, but there's my 4 flywheel cage screws. Well, anytime you've been doing something for a long time, you develop bad habits no matter how hard you try not to. Because there's the right way and then there's the way you actually do it. And it's all about calculated risks. So there's the wheels. Let's go ahead and get this rubber piece out. I do throw those away. I'm never going to use one of those. Okay. Gently prying up on the flywheels, never too much in one spot. So as I get some resistance, you're going to see me turn the flywheel, because I don't want to warp them too bad. I'm not going to be using stock flywheels on this, but still, it's nice to have the extra parts. You can use a large screwdriver. You know, watching this live stream and actually recording it, I've realized how much I use my little tiny utility knife. I almost never use it for cutting, if you notice. See, that's like a pairing move right there. I'm cutting towards like 4 body parts, but with a paring knife, that's how you're supposed to do it, because the worst it's going to do is hit your finger and not cut. There we go. So we got the flywheels we can save for later. Okay, motor removal. We'll put that in the save for later box. Let me get all these junk resistors out of here. Trash bin. Okay, so stuff I'm saving versus stuff I actually need. I'm pulling out the stuff I'm saving, leaving the stuff in there I actually need. There's that hammer shot trigger. Let's go through my bag of parts. Need that. We're going to take that spring. That's trash, basically. Trigger spring, wire cover, faux barrel. Those are safety locks I don't need. Okay, there's all parts I actually need. Now, do I need to modify any of these? So that's what I'm going to look at next. Don't need to modify these. I need to get that ready for painting. Gotta get that ready for painting. Okay, let's go ahead and get this stuff out of our way. It's all stuff we don't need that we're going to save though. The more you can keep your project area neat and organized, the easier time you'll have with modding. So all I'm working on right now is those 3 parts and the shell. So we're moving to the shell next. And here's what I absolutely love about the Rapid Red. It is such a dream to paint. Take these little tabs, press in on them and they'll pop off. Last one's always a pain though. And your shell comes apart. You don't have to spray one color, spray one the other color. It is a dream to paint. Do the same thing to the other side. Then we get to break out tools. Bingo.
She looked at me and said, boy, yeah, you're in for a treat. Let's go. She said, welcome to the city, where the girls are pretty, where the boys drink whiskey, enjoy getting risky. Oh, she's feeling frisky, yeah.
Wipe her down real quick. Alright, I have to mute out for this. This is an oscillating sander. It gets loud.
So I get her back to my place for a good time. We're sipping bottles of Patron with a good line. She's like a model and her clothes fit her just right. A couple bottles and she's showing me her good side.
Okay, on the top shells, all we're doing is looking to start that chalky texture. We're going to go back and hand finish this later, but it's easier to start out with it halfway done. Now on the bottom shells, we got a lot more work. We're going to get logo removal, warning label removal, all that. So that's where this thing really shines. I'm going to start on the easier one. We got a Rebel logo here that's painted. And then on this one, we have the Rebel logo. We got warning label, warning label, warning label.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick. All the boys stare, can't help it, it's a habit. Clothes that she wears, short skirt and a jacket. I just wanna get her all alone on a mattress. I just wanna have it, I just gotta have it. Rumors all around say her body is fantastic. All natural, not a piece of fur is plastic. Head to her toes, yeah, they say that she's a latch. Yeah, the whispers all around say she has a reputation. Don't believe it till I see it, so I want a demonstration. And I've always learned it better with a hands-on education. So I need a private session if you get what I am saying. And they say that she's not easy, no, she's really complicated. But that only makes it better, and it's got me so fixated. And I'm not the type to wait around, I've never hesitated. But she's got me captivated, so the game, I'm gonna play it, yeah. You got a body like a cocaine. She likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely. I want that body, baby, show me. She's got a body like a cocaine. She likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely. I want that body, baby, show me.
So 80 grit with the oscillating sander. Sorry, I couldn't talk.
I heard you like to stay out late. I heard you had a couple boyfriends. I heard they didn't treat you right. I heard you're hated by your girl.
80 grit is normally regardless what my first layer is.
Yeah, they say she's too hot.
But what this is allowing me to do, I'm coming in with 600 grit to finish the chalky coat. That's a huge no-no. In the real world, you never jump from like 80 to 600. But in Nerf, it seems to work pretty well. And it's weird because I actually go kind of out of order. So my initial layers will be 80. And then I touch up machine sanding with either 600 or 400 grit. And then before painting, I'll go over with the 220. 220 is my normally finished thing. But the reason I use the 600, 400 grit after machine sanding it is I want to make sure I get all the burrs out, and I just want to make sure I don't have any huge gorges from power sanding. It lets me see the, like, I've missed a spot here that I can see now because of the sandpaper. It lets me see what the machine sanding did. Heavy grit with machine sanders, the key there is to go slow. So you'll see me constantly adjusting how much speed's going on it. Like the max on this one's 6, and I'm running it at 3, kind of wide open, and then slowing it down to 2 and 1 to make it go slow for the detail stuff.
And we like to have our parties leaning towards the feminine. Always rep our city cause you know we from the west side. Always keep it filthy cause you know we from the best side. Bitches always knocking on my door and yeah, I let them in. Cause the ladies know that I'm a motherfucking gentleman. Only worries making music and I let the rest slide. Keep on doing what I love until the day I must die. Late nights, late shows, ladies in the front row. Wanna take her back home, tour bus all alone. Adding me on Snapchat, yeah, kinda like that.
Your major enemy on machine sanding is not necessarily the grit. The major enemy on machine sanding is how much friction it generates, creates heat, and plastic melts. So that's in no way, shape, or form pretty, but we got all the logos removed. Doesn't look bad. There's no deep gorging. So she's ready for when I move to the 220 grid. Let's check out this one real quick. Little gorging right around there, so we'll get that with the 600 grid. Do not be afraid to use your fingers and feel. You're not going to be able to see it with your eyes. You only can tell by touching it. That's why we use alcohol to clean it off. It gets all your finger oils off. But this way, I can follow the curves of the blaster and feel what's wrong. See, like, that looks like it's horrendously pitted. It's actually not. It's just the shape from the release where the plastic was. And I can't feel them. So it's like fresh plastic versus not fresh plastic. I can feel that one just a hair. Okay, so we're good there. 2 bombshells are ready for final sanding. I'm not worried about the paint on here. That's not why I'm sanding this one, because that paint's going to get covered with my primer coat. That's good to go.
It's that time that you got snuck out and forgot. Your parents were so mad, but man, she was so hot. That time you got too drunk, the first time you blew chunks. It's okay, we all drank too much when
Okay. That's good.
romance. You thought you had no chance, but still asked her to dance. The time that you moved out,
This is the next thing we're going to work on.
and waving goodbye, they held
More power tools needed. Be right back.
all lives are the same, but we can work together and we can make a change. Yeah, this life is strange. Remember all the good while forgetting all the pain. Yeah, think back to a day when you were so free just to run around and play. Yeah, you can have that day. Just let go, let your mind run away. Yeah, and learn to be young. Have a little fun with your friends in the sun. Cause in life you only got one. Give yourself a break, quit living on the run. And be where your feet are. Laying down at night, just stare up at the stars. Yeah, and be proud of who you are. Wear your memories in your sleeve like a scar.
Okay, I'm going to be a pretentious dick today and use the 6000 series Dremel. You do not have to use the 6000 series Dremel. Most times I honestly use my Chicago Electric for this part. But this one was out and the Chicago Electric wasn't. So, we're using the big boy Dremel today. We're looking at switch placement and trying to figure out how we want to put it in there. Now, when you do get your first rotary tool, what I recommend is shop around for bits, because a lot of this is all about having the right bit to do the right thing. I know I need that gone, so let's start marking this. Where's one of my markers? This gone, this gone. We need this whole ledge gone. Don't be afraid to draw on stuff that you need to cut out, especially if you're going to be cutting it out. But remember, this will come off with alcohol and you're going to be painting the blaster anyhow. That can go if we want. That doesn't have to go, but it can go. This is the one problem with the Rapid Red. It is so tight in there. So a good way to keep track of your Dremel bits is go to whatever Mega Mart you go to, and they'll have fishing tackle boxes. I'm just getting out all the bits I'll need for this. So when you get your first Dremel, every paycheck, each week, each time you get your allowance, whatever, go and try to pick up a new bit that you think would be useful for you. Bits that I use quite often is this cutoff bit. It's so much easier than using cutoff wheels. This really, really fine engraver lets me dig out sunken spots. My 2 utility bits, which are good for removing massive material. And then I definitely recommend getting different size sanding drums. Makes it a little easier when you're working with it. So I'm going to start with the cutoff bit. And of course, while I'm running the Dremel, there will be no sound because I don't want to blow out your ears. Okay, we're going to come back in with some snips to get this wall off. Just like that. Boom. Switching out bits. Using the big utility bit. Switching out bits. Using the angle bit now, the cone shape one. Switching out bits. Little ball bit. Switching out bits. Small sanding drum. Last but not least, the big sanding drum. Alright, make sure you clean up your workspace when you're done. If you always put your tools away, you'll know exactly where they are the next time you need them. And once again, the utility knife comes out. I use this thing a whole lot. Once again, don't cut towards yourself. Cut away. Do as I say, not as I do.
Like J. Cole, it's my first time. Goddamn, man, she's so fine. She got a body.
See, when I go to actually cut, I'm cutting away from myself.
She finished off with that crop top. She likes hip hop and hard rock. She likes heavy drops, that's hot. I said I'm in it to win it, cause if I want it, I get it. Just give me time, we'll be sinning. Just give me time, I'll be swimming up in a diamond. I'm winning, pinning her down.
All right. Let's get back to testing this trigger placement now.
Just to the thought of her vivid. Tell all my friends I'm gonna get it. At the next party, I'll hit it.
I think the Omron might be too big for this build that I'm trying to do on this one.
Up to the party, dude. I look around, man, nothing new. I see my girl sipping on a brew.
Beautiful.
That's when I knew what I want to do. My heart's fast, so I talk slow. And what I'm saying, man, I don't know. I just hope I look like a pro.
This honestly generally is the long part of the build. It's getting the switch set.
I feel my blood run thinner, straight to my liver. Now I wanna pull the trigger, roll. I wanna move a little quicker, skipping on the dinner, feeling on your figure, turn the lights down dimmer. Think I picked a winner, doesn't know I'm a beginner, so I hope I can deliver. Shots of that whiskey, a couple more and we're tipsy. My heart is beating so quickly, I think I like being risky. Oh God, her bra so tricky, and fuck, I'm way too dizzy. I think those shots just hit me. That's when she said, get in me.
Sorry about that, I had to grab something there. Let's get back to checking this switch out. So, switch goes in like this. Normally closed, normally open column.
Cross my shit, you'll be knocked unconscious, bitch. That's the consequence. I got this. I will not quit. Man, I'm on it, honest. I'm gonna launch quick, then I'm gone. It's just a matter of time before I'm over the line and moving under my prime. Just quit my 9 to 5. I'm rocking, they watching, cause it's shocking. Dropping all these top 10 songs.
Okay.
It's time to live my life. It's time to live, not die. Wish I could slow down time and just enjoy the climb. Yeah, I'm the one to get it, bruh. I swear to God I'll get it, bruh. Hey, I ain't never giving up. Yeah, I never give up. I got this, man, I got it. I will not quit, I'm on it. Never off it. Got the block lit, I'm toxic. Spitting logic, make them nauseous. Honest, can I stop this? Never cautious, drop it. I'm the hottest. Knock, knock, bitch, watch it. I'm the fucking king of rock, bitch. Profit, spitting hot shit. Off topic, chronic. I think I'm motherfucking lost it. Back, matter of fact, making racks where it's at. Have my back to the mat. Not an act, that's a fact. We attack in a back. No react, no react. Think I'm black off his back. While I rap, not to step. Throw a jab, give a crap. We're advanced, I'm the man. Got a plan better than most brands. Goddamn, I'm a rhyme till I die. Never lie, that's a lie. I don't try.
I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the normally closed since we're not going to be using that tab on this build. Give me a little more room to work with here.
Yeah, I've been in and out the studio like a student though, working on a movement. Yeah, I'll do it cause I'm in the zone, and you know that I'm ready for the shows. How it goes, I don't know, but I'm waiting till I'm chose. Front row, here I go. All these people wanna know what you think of them lately. Do you really love me or do you really hate me? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you grade me? All this social media has got me going crazy lately. Everything's inflated, mainly everyone's invaded. Privacy is naked, man, I really hate it. God, I really hate it. I just wanna make it through all this fake shit. Living in the real life, living for some real times. Talk about the real climb, passionate in real rhymes. Steal time back from my 9 to 5, taking back my fucking life. I just wanna feel alive.
There's some resistance here, so we're going to go ahead and scrape these walls just to make sure they're clean. Much better. Okay, so it looks like our winner is going to be right here. It clears here. So all we have to do now is get this set.
You wanna go? Tell these haters how to step the fuck away. I said let's go, cause you're just standing in my motherfucking way. Let's go. Yeah, y'all sitting in my way, better back up. About to have a bad day, call it bad luck. I don't call it shit fake, call it back, bruh. Anybody getting in my way is
Okay, so here's a neat little pro tip. This is the thing that would have went here to cover it. I'm going to use this as a platform. So again, we're going to do some more dremeling.
one day I'ma stay see. I ain't never giving up cause I don't quit. I ain't never giving up cause I want this. I ain't never giving up till I own it. Got a couple mil cause I'm working hard to grow it. I'm not the type to take it nice and slow. I'm not the type to take the answer no. I'm not the type to quit and let it go. I'm my own dream catcher. I'm not the type to take it nice and slow. I'm not the type to take the answer no. I'm not the type to quit and let it go. I'm my own dream catcher.
Okay, so we now have a platform we can glue this switch to make good contact. So now comes the long boring part. We're going to hit this with Gorilla Glue first. Short skirt and some high socks. She finished off with that crop top. We're going to be generous with that Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue is a polyurethane, moisture-activated adhesive. So it actually puts little air bubbles in it as it dries. It's got a fairly flexible finish to it, and yeah, I don't have a nicer way to say it. It's permanent. It sticks. But it has an extremely long cure time. So I don't want to clamp this because I already know how I want it. What we're going to do is we're going to hit with some CA glue. Now CA glue is wonderful. It cures extremely fast. It's got a good strong hold to it. Problem is it's not flexible at all. It's brittle. So we use the CA to tack down the surface, and then the Gorilla Glue will create the permanent bond. Now with areas like this, what I did was I put a nice glob of glue there. I'm going to take my utility knife, squeeze it into the joint. Which is handy because now I have glue on my utility knife. I can go over and hit what areas I want to hit with glue and get a little better control on it. If you get glue on your fingers, just let it dry and it'll peel right off. Like I said, it's permanent, but it's not flexible. So if you bend it, it'll chip and crack. Alright, so this one is going to be drying. We've got her started. I believe it's time for another break. S2 blaster's kind of downish. This is how you start a flywheel blaster. I'll be back probably in 5 to 10.
Tipsy, my heart is beating so quickly. I think I like being risky. Oh God, her bra so tricky, and fuck, I'm way too dizzy. I think those shots just hit me. That's when she said, get in me. Yeah, I ain't got no need for contraception. Put my bros before my hoes, that's no misconception. Have more money I can blow, so I'm gonna send it. New PlayStation and a whole new porn collection. That's what I got, no girl, it's a miracle. Now I'm running up the game like a clinical. I can focus on myself, egotistical. Don't need anybody else, unconditional. I put my bros before hoes, you already know. Got no cheek to spend my shit, more money I can blow. I put my bros before hoes, you already know. I got a million problems, but a bitch ain't want no more. Let's go. And all I fucking know is I got my bros, and wherever we're going, you know we own it. All I fucking know is I got my bros, and wherever we're going, I put my bros before. Yeah, so we roll up to the club at 7. 6 dicks, no chicks, so we straight flexing. Bouncer is a piece of shit, says we need a 7. Told us that we need a chick, and she must be present. Fuck that, man, we learned our lesson. Got no worries, such as getting hella females pregnant. So we cross the street, get slushies at 7-Eleven. Back home to play a couple games of League of Legends. I put my bros before hoes, you already know. Got no cheek to spend my shit, more money I can blow. I put my bros before hoes, you already know. I got a million problems, but a bitch ain't want no more. Let's go. And all I fucking know is I got my bros, and wherever we're going, you know we own it. All I fucking know is know it's yo. I'm about to throw down, I never slow down. From the bottom to the top, I fucking grow now. Chris Bryant in this bitch, I'm fucking pro now. Hitting home runs at every single show now. Let's go. I got a couple shots in my system of that whiskey. I'm the best in fucking town in this motherfucking city. Everybody knows me now cause I'm staying hella busy. Got the ladies all around thinking that I'm hella filthy cause I'm guilty, yo. You gon' hear me on the radio. I could give a fuck what you get tonight is audio. I'm modest, yo, the opposite of dropping dough. Saving up, I'm stopping, no. I rock it on this domino and push it till they falling. No focus, never slow down. Put my shit out in the open, so you know now. Everybody's taking notice, there they go now. Yeah, welcome to my show, bitch. This my hometown, I'ma get it right. Focus, never slow down. Put my shit out in the open, so you know now. Everybody's taking notice, there they go now. Yeah, welcome to my show, bitch. This my hometown, I'ma get it right.
I just realized I didn't mute. I'm so sorry about that.
Man, they never last, so recognize when you're in a man, not the past. Screw school and class, just get a pass. C's get degrees, you got a life to have. Roll up to the party in a Hummer limo. Girls sipping on Bacardi, turn them into nymphos. Already getting started, freshmen in limbo. Snapchat a little hottie and play out your demo. We're the type of kids who wanna stay young forever. We don't do what we don't want, we do it all for pleasure. Liquor over lectures, bigger over lesser. Never gonna say never, we go out whenever. Drinking way too much, pass out again. Wake up the next.
Nice. So working on a couple springers this afternoon. Your artifact retaliator build. Trying to improve the seal on that. I can definitely understand. I'm not a big springer guy. I'm really not. Like, I have my Alpha Trooper. There's my Alpha Trooper. It works well. I think that's the only spring primary I need. Now, I'll definitely use spring sidearms, but a lot of sidearms I don't like to upgrade too heavy. Like you saw earlier in the stream, I took a hammer shot. All I did was put a spring spacer in it. Because if I'm down to using a sidearm... Oh, it's not that even with your... Yeah, I'm using my good mic, so it shouldn't be horrible, and it's running through my soundboard, so it'll cut out spikes, but I still feel bad. Nobody likes to hear... Yeah, this bad sound. .220 grit. Going for that nice chalky finish all over. I hate sanding. It's a necessary part of it, though. And a little bit of work up front saves a lot of work and cleanup afterwards. So we're nice and chalky all over. I don't do air-powered blasters because with the SCNC, there's a lot of kids there when it's not the mature wars. So I don't want. That's why I use mostly 2S motors on my flywheel builds. I don't want something too strong. I'm not there to hurt people. It's Nerf, not paintball. It's Nerf, not airsoft. It's Nerf, not real steel. I have real steel. I have airsoft. I have paintball. So, I mean, if I wanted to leave Welts, I'd use one of the other hobbies. But springs are a whole different art than flywheels. Flywheels is just a base understanding of electricity. Springs, it goes, yeah. They all have their place, though. Plus, as you see, I'm not a particularly small guy, so I like carrying lots of ammo, and I can get higher rates of fire off of flywheel blasters than I can off of a Springer. I do eventually need to make me an NIC blaster. I haven't decided which one I'm going to make yet. The Caliburn looks pretty, but down here where I play, the tolerances are just too tight. They run into jamming issues. I mean, they're an amazing blaster. They're just not set up for where I play. I'm actually looking at like a rainbow pump. The other problem with the Caliburn is there are a lot of moving pieces in it for a relatively simple toy. More moving pieces is not always good. Sometimes it makes it overly complex. It's an amazing machine. Again, I'm just in completely the wrong environment for it. Now we gotta be careful with this one because this is still drying. But I do want to go over it with the 220 grit. I mean, I also guess it really all comes down to you need whatever your group you're playing with plays. If you're running up against all NIC blasters, running out there with, you know, an unmodded Strife isn't going to do you well. Conversely, if you're playing with a bunch of kids, running out there with an NIC blaster, you're not going to make any friends that way. You know, if everybody's using stock Retaliators and stock Alpha Hawks, yeah, Big Boy Strife for me is going to be a 3S build, but the bulk majority of mine are 2S builds. I actually keep up with a lot of 3S builds with them, so a lot of it comes down to play style too. Hell, most of the time I use my stock, 100% bone stock Nemesis. It does have the upgraded rechargeable Nerf battery pack in it. That's the only upgrade I've done to her. I forget, what part of Tennessee are you in? Like, I'd love to see you at the SCNC, but I know there's an Alabama group starting up. So that might actually be closer for you. They actually just had a war yesterday. I think they had like 30, 40 people at it. TK 1138 goes there. Okay, these parts have to be painted too, so I want to do a rough sanding on them with the 220. That helps to paint it here. Nashville isn't too far from here. It's what, 30-minute ride. So you're a little bit north. You're actually probably closer to SCNC than the Alabama group. Alright, let's go back down to the table. So we got the top shells. They're sanded. They've been wiped down with alcohol for the first time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put them together. If you do this, sometimes it's easier when you're painting to spray with both shell pieces together. That way the little posts don't get messed up. This part's done. This part's done. This part's done. So we'll take the bottom shells. This is the part that's drying. We'll set them together. Yeah, it's about 2 hours from me, and I want to say that God, what's that place? Knoxville is about an hour north of me, so.
It's that first day of first grade, that cute girl, your third day, that backpack, that snapback you've had since the third grade. The first time you got laid, the worst time you got played. It hurt, but you're okay.
I think we actually have somebody from Kentucky that comes down. If you got the time and his coming, it goes by Spam, I believe. You might be able to ask him for a carpool. You might want a couple bucks for gas, but It's a hell of a lot better than, you know, having to drive it by yourself. Time to clean up the mess. Alright, I'm probably going to work on one more thing and then get off of here and go get lunch. Now, I will probably be streaming later on today. I will also probably delete live streams at the end of the day. Putting a towel over your work area makes it so your screws don't roll away. Let's see, what do I have here on my shelf that needs work on? Ah, this thing! Haha! So, the modular stock that everybody hates, I found a way to make it better. We 3D printed a part there, and no flex. That being said, I want to plan this thing out for use. And get it prepped for painting. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, more people always better, man. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Break it off, break it off. I just wanna see you take it off. T-Swift that shit, yeah, shake it off. Are we gonna take a trip? Taking off, oh yeah. Lay you down. I just wanna be your body now. Your life's too short, I'm from out of town, so we better get to work, yeah, working out. I get blacked out too easy. Ever since I was 16, wait, ever since I was 15. Oh shit, maybe sometime in between. I just wanna create some memories before I die this century. Fuck that advice from the enemy. Yo, do you believe in destiny?
Nice. I wish that was an easy way to get the New Island blasters and that they were cheaper than the actual Nerf blasters. I was looking at the New Island Strife / Modulus and it's like the same price as a Strife / Modulus. I'm like, heh. Why wouldn't I just get a Strife Modulus then? Like, I have some expendable income, but at the same time, making stupid purchases is stupid, you know? So, black, black, black. Wow. Huh. Huh. Okay. I don't see a way to get these out of there. They got little pins right here and here. And the pins don't go all the way through, so I can't knock them out. I can't pull them out. I know what that means. Time for masking tape. Nice. Okay, so we got that started. Let's get that closed off good around those joints. Okay. So now we just got sand.
I've been okay, I've been alright. I've been messing around with this girl for a minute. She just came down in the summer for a visit. We just right now in the moment, so we live it. I've been okay, I've been alright. I've been getting down with this girl for a minute. Moving all around with this girl, gonna miss it. Living right now for the memories, it's getting. We know how to have a good time. We drinking all night in the summer when the air's nice. Every day is a new life. We live it so right. Skinny dipping by the poolside. We know how to have a good time. We drinking all night in the summer when the air's nice. Every day is a new life. We live it so right. Skinny dipping by the poolside. Hand me the tequila 'cause I'm feeling like a Mexican. Chasing with caffeine, now I can feel it, my adrenaline. I'll be drinking, doing this until the day I must die. Never gonna doubt that I know how to have a good time. When it comes to life, you gotta balance all the ethics and take a risk or you will miss and pass away regretting it. I just wanna look back and remember all the good times. Fill my life with memories of late nights and some good times. Big stage, big crowd, everybody get loud. Backstage in the south, up north in the clouds, losing every bit of doubt. As we overcome the drought, we just party so loud, 'cause we made it somehow. Tank top, snap back, yeah we run it like that. Reppin' suits and make cash, yeah we never look back. G6 in the sky, yeah we like to fly by. Lambo so tight, yeah we like to drive by. Growing up in Cali, yeah, you know I love the weather. Limelight hit 'em and you know I handle pressure. I do what I want, so I'm never saying never. I get what I I want, so they call me go-getter. Yeah, I know he does it good, but you know I do it better. So misunderstood.
Okay, we are almost prepped for paint. Hang on, back down on the desk. Let me go ahead and take off the mask. Oh, I can breathe. There we go. Again, use your fingers to see if it's smooth.
Sipping shots of Patron, I will never stop till the road's my home. I'm about to pop, everybody's gonna know. When the beat drops, they be L&B ho. Girls in crop tops, drop tops at a shows. Mini skirts rock, got us all like whoa. All the pretty ladies lined up front row, driving me crazy, I just wanna take them home. Got it on lock, yeah, you could call me pro. Parties on the block, make sure the girls know. Now it's getting hot up in here, oh no. Think Ellie had it right, better take off all your clothes. Future's looking bright, now I'm finally in the zone. 3 years of my life, I committed to the growth. Soldier boy, tell them #1 ringtone. I'm the reason people texting, cause they blowing up your phone. I don't think I do it good, no, I think I do it great. They would do it if they could, they can't do it, so they hate. Everybody wanna look, but nobody wanna play. Stealing eyes like the crook while I put it on display. I don't do it by the book, no, I do my own thing. That's why every single hook got them singing like me. And I ain't in any rush, cause I'm finally getting paid. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah.
That's how fast you prep for paint. Alright, well, it's been a few hours here. It's about lunchtime. I'm a fat kid. I'm going to go get food. I want to thank y'all for tuning in again after lunch. I may be back. Till then, have fun. We'll see you next time.